Hey everybody, Erin Knight here, founder of Engineering Radiance and creator of the Migraine Freedom Program, with a special guest on today, Jodi Cohen, who is an author and entrepreneur and really cool woman you've gotten to know here in Seattle. She is the founder of Vibrant Blue Oils, which is they have special blends of therapeutic oils that you'll definitely want to know about. And she's also coming out with a brand new book that is all about how essential oils can help heal and protect your brain, which, as a migraineurs, you're definitely going to be interested in. And she has some interesting and helpful facts to share with us today. So thank you, Jodi, for joining me and sharing all of your wonderful expertise with our community about how oils can be helpful for somebody with migraines.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. And we've been friends for a while.
Actually, yeah.
Seattle girls, I know. It's interesting. When I do have headaches, it's debilitating. It's horrible. And it's just nice to have a variety of options because it's not, I don't know, sometimes different things work differently.
Yeah, that's very true. Like there's not, even for, classic migraine, there's not always the same treatment options will work in every situation. So you kind of have to have this whole toolbox arsenal. I teach people how to, choose from that and build their own set of tools that can work for them in those different situations. And one other thing I wanted to say I really admire about you, Jodi, is she's really somebody who I think is her background in investigative journalism. I don't know what it is, but I really admire how much of a critical thinker you are. And I know that anything you put out there in the world with books or these different blends and things like that, I know it's going to be well researched and that it's going to be effective. So just something cool about
That's kind of my happy space. Like, you know how everyone has like their little thing that calms them down? Like when the house is, I'm OCD, so when the house is clean and quiet, there is nothing I like better than like, gosh, I wonder why that works, And especially if it's not, like I recently wrote a whole article about what to do if you have your gallbladder removed, because I couldn't believe there's no information out there. And I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
My articles are like 20 pages long. Oh, look at that. I want to put that in too.
Yeah, it's funny what we do for fun and then
I know.
So tell us a little bit about how, what you found as far as oils that could be helpful with somebody suffering from headaches or migraines.
Yeah.
And before we even go there, I should let people know, definitely check out the website, Vibrant Blue Oils. But what's really unique about this company that she started in these products that Jodi has is that they are easy to identify with. I think like whatever's going on for you, you don't have to like look through like, okay, I've got migraines, I have to research all the different oils and their effects and things like that. She's already made these blends that are very convenient to use, potent and things like that. So it's different from a lot of really any other essential oils that I've come across, that they're just so targeted to, you want to stimulate lymph, you want to relax and things like that. So anyway, getting back to
and I think the other thing that I'm trying to do is kind of look at what is the underlying issue that's causing, the migraine, because we all, you can feel it coming, it's going to be debilitating, you kind of muscle through, and then you pray to God that it doesn't happen again. So what is the underlying root issues that contribute to it? And there can be a variety of things, right? But one of the things that I kept noticing is the neck. The neck is like the bottleneck in the body, right? Because it's what, good things have to pass through the neck to get to the brain, and garbage needs to actually drain down the neck to leave. And any congestion in the neck can contribute to pressure buildup in the head, and also the deprivation of oxygen and nutrients. So that's where I really like oils. We know that anything you topically apply to the skin gets in the system within 20 minutes, but the neck in particular, I work a lot with Dr. Christine Schaffner, who, treats kind of the sickest of the sick, and they kept bumping in the neck. You obviously have your structure, your bones, your muscles, your nerves, including your vagus nerve, which plays kind of a critical role in pain signals and everything else in the body, your lymph, and your vascular system. And what Dr. Schaffner was doing with a researcher, Dr. Marco Ruggiero, was noticing like sometimes there's an infected vagus nerve or a compromise in the signaling, and also the lymph. You know, think of if you're in the middle seat in an airplane and you're next to two linebackers, you know, like maybe you're trying to get your arm on the armrest. You are so congested and compressed that you don't really, you can't kind of move the way you're used to. And that happens a lot in the neck. And if there's congestion, especially in the lymph, it's not draining. And if those toxins aren't draining, they're recirculating. They're, you know, then the immune system is responding, more brain inflammation. If the vasculature isn't, you know, circulating, then all of these things lead to like pressure. Yeah. So if you're kind of unraveling, what can I do to prevent this going forward? Really making sure that there's drainage in the neck can go a long way.
Totally. I see that helping a lot with people who have weather headaches, weather migraines, that lymphatic stimulation and different options there really helps. Also, as you're speaking to like toxins need to be cleared and things like that, people who are really sensitive to smells or chemicals on the airplane or in the mall and things like that, which I think a lot of our listeners will be able to relate to. Those kind of people also need to think about how are they moving the lymph so it's not just getting stuck in the body. So those two especially, I think.
Yeah, and one thing, like we have a lymph oil, and I detail this in the book, but even castor oil. But one of the things, like one of the fun facts I found that you might already know, but lymph doesn't flow evenly. Like the left side does 75% of the work.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I know, kind of fun fact. And the biggest bottleneck is the clavicle, the left clavicle. So anything you can do to massage that point just with your fingers, with oil, you know, with castor oil before bed, that'll really help. It's like, imagine, well, you live in Seattle, you know, I-5 on a good day, maybe two of the four lanes are open, you know, but when traffic can actually flow, it's unbelievable because you can actually get to where you need to go.
Yeah. That's really important. And you might even, if you're listening, maybe even try that massage a little bit here.
Yeah.
Roll your fingers down lightly and you might start to feel like, oh, I have to swallow and like stuff is draining. Sometimes that happens to me. I can feel it right away.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that's really interesting is the vagus nerve. So, you know, most people know our body's operating system is our autonomic nervous system. And, you know, it controls all of our automatic functions that, you know, heartbeat, respiration, drainage, detoxification. And because it's designed to keep us alive, it has different gears. You know, if you think you're going to die because a lion is chasing you, you're going to allocate resources differently than if, you know, it's just a good, happy day and you're sitting in your home. So the on-off switch between kind of stress response and safety response is your vagus nerve. It's the longest nerve in your body that most people don't know anything about, and it plays a role in migraines. It starts at the back of the head, splits, and is most accessible right here behind the earlobe on the mastoid bone. And then it kind of winds through every point in the body. This is why, like all the breathing exercises, you're activating the vagus nerve. And that helps you kind of switch into the parasympathetic state. Where it comes in with migraines, there's been a lot of research. Actually, in 2012, right around when I was starting my company, a New York neuroscientist by the name of Kevin Tracy started doing implants, kind of pacemaker-like electrical devices right here that he used to stimulate the vagus nerve. And it had really positive results. Actually, the FDA has approved it for use in migraines, for epilepsy, and for depression because pain signaling, you know, like your perception of pain alters. And there's some research that the vagus nerve can get infected. Basically, I'll finish this thought. You can use stimulatory oils like clove and lime to basically stimulate this nerve, and that can help not only prevent migraines, but also if you're in the middle of one, it can kind of calm it and lessen it.
Mm-hmm. Totally makes sense. What about those situations where if somebody notices like a pattern? Personally, I used to, if I had to give a presentation at work or something like that, of course, that's when
Oh,
I would get the migraine. Do you think it had anything to do with stress? Oh, maybe. And I didn't
yeah,
know, I wasn't
yeah,
educated on these options back then, but would that be a good situation where like that might help you really calm down and just
yeah.
avoid it altogether, preventatively even? Like I know that's a stressful situation for me. I know, visiting so-and-so relative is going to be a stressful situation for me. Like maybe maybe I do a little bit
Yeah,
of this preventatively and it just keeps my nervous system more in balance. Would that be a good
that's
use?
oh, a great use. And that's kind of that's my big takeaway is this idea, before I really started playing with oils, I always kind of had that type A personality and people would be like, "Oh, it's just stress, you're just too high cortisol." But
Yeah.
truthfully, when they would say, "Oh, you just need to relax," that would almost make me feel worse
Yeah,
because,
nobody wants to hear that. That's horrible.
well, and I didn't, I think when you don't know what to do, you do nothing.
Hmm.
Like I had really young kids, I had a really stressful job, I had a pretty depressed husband. I had family and friends that expected a lot from me, and I couldn't see like what what responsibility could I drop.
Hmm.
What I didn't realize then is it's not really what is happening outside of you. You probably are not going to have that much control over,
Hmm.
but your internal response, that's what you have a lot of control over.
Hmm.
Like, I share the example, most of us have had that day when we're stuck in traffic and someone cuts us off right before the light, so they make the light and we don't. And some days you're like, oh well, maybe they're in a hurry, and it just, you're okay with it. Like, you don't let yourself get crazy.
Hmm.
Another day the same situation happens and four-letter words are flying out of your mouth, and you're thinking about how you can run the light and hit the car. Like, you can't even control it. And the
Yeah.
the only difference is you and
Hmm.
your resilience in that moment, and your ability to kind of flow with stress or not, react or
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
And that's what I really have learned, is that there are different regions of the brain that kind of are involved in different responses.
Hmm.
And the more you are aware, like, oh, I can activate my vagus nerve,
Hmm.
not just with the oils. I actually have a gift of 25 strategies
Hmm.
that people can use. It's at
Okay.
boostthebrainbook.com/gift.
Cool.
Lots of things, most of them free,
Yeah.
that they can try. But it's like, oh, it's a little bit like being a kid, like, or having a kid. Like, they tantrum, and at a certain point they can, like, oh, I can use my words. I don't need to, like,
You
flip
can use all
out.
these options. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more options. There are a lot of ways that, you have many options, and this is just one of them, and
Hmm.
I think it's easy.
Okay. Yeah, it totally is. So we talked about kind of stimulating the vagus nerve to help with the stress response, clearing the lymph. Are there any other ways to support
Yeah,
the body that come to mind?
circulation. And this is
Circulation.
one thing, it's really interesting. Like, there are groups that will say, like, oh, you can use an oil for everything. And, if I broke my arm, I'd go to the hospital. Those kind of acute situations are not the time to use oils. It's
Yeah.
more preventative. And one of the things that often happens with a headache, it has to do with circulation, right? And the veins, the vasculature can really get compressed.
Hmm.
And this is where there is a ton of research. Oils like black pepper, like
Hmm.
cypress, they kind of dilate the vasculature, and also that, the veins can get pretty stiff and inflexible. They can make them, more compromising, more flowing.
Hmm.
So circulation stops being as much of a problem. And you would know this. Like, if you have
Yeah.
cold hands and feet, you need to wear socks before
Or
bed.
if
Your
you're
nose is
somebody
cold.
like who finds that caffeine's really helpful for your headaches, there's definitely that, group
Yes,
of people that
exactly.
reaches, they're like, oh my gosh, a coffee or Coke or whatever makes like, et cetera, and will solve that headache. And no, it's not the best solution, but that's the only thing that works. Well, they maybe can think about these warming, circulating oils then. A
And
black
coffee
pepper,
also, yeah, but it's black pepper and cypress are my favorites.
cypress.
But coffee also, like how coffee can trigger a bowel movement, it does the same thing. It helps to stimulate the vagus nerve, especially in the gallbladder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, so I could try both of those then.
yeah,
Well,
exactly. And especially, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I feel a headache coming on, like I'm almost more sensitive to smells. It's like all of my senses are heightened. And
that's
I
true.
really,
That's true. Maybe we should talk about that because some people, yeah, they're like, why would I want to use something smelly if I'm.
yeah, yeah. And I have a really good solution for that. We have reflex points all over our body. Like the ears have a ton of reflex points. The bottom of the feet have a ton of reflex points. And there is actually a reflex point for the vagus nerve on the bottom of the feet. I have a chart I can share. And you can, if you're sensitive to smell, or people will be like, I love it, but my husband doesn't, put it on the bottom of the feet and then put socks on it. And you can't smell it, but it does the same thing.
That's a good tip. On our migraine relief checklist, putting oils and massaging your feet and then putting some cozy socks on is like one of the things definitely to do. It has a lot of benefits of reflexology points, drawing kind of the energy away from your head and things like that, being soothing. So definitely do that. Whether, even if you like the smells, that's still a good tip.
Yeah.
I was thinking even of screen sharing your
Oh, yeah. Thank
site here
you.
because it's so beautiful. And I want to
Oh,
show people how many awesome things they can get when they check out your book. So, this is Jodi's new book, Essential Oils to Boost the Brain and Heal the Body. How applicable for our migraine community to reduce inflammation. Everybody's
well, and
favorite
the
word.
other thing, it's really interesting because I find some people have a whole collection of oils and they just want the recipes to do it themselves, and I shared them
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I feel like I want to make it easy, and then some people are like, I'm afraid of doing it wrong. I don't really know. I'd rather you just do it for me, and we do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like, you complimented me on being a critical thinker. I think part of being a critical thinker is recognizing, allowing people to meet you where they're at and
Mm-hmm.
just saying, that's great. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, I get it. Well, so the book is just brand new, and if somebody is ordering it, they can come back here to boost. I can bring it up.
Boostthebrainbook.com.
Boostbrainbook.com, and you have all these free gifts that you're giving people if they buy the
Oh
book.
yeah,
It's
yeah, and
amazing.
we keep adding more. Like we did the immune download. We're adding kind of a sleep checklist, and then I was talking to Eric Zelinsky, and he's like, I teach people, like I share the research, but I don't tell them what to do with it. And we were having this interesting conversation that, like, how you eat is almost more important than what you eat, so that
Mm-hmm.
you're able to assimilate your nutrients. And I said, how you apply oils is almost more important than what you apply.
What?
And
Oh.
he's like, oh, I never talk about that. So
Mm-hmm.
I did a whole download, like
Is
one of
that
my
this
favorite.
mini course here?
No, I haven't added it yet. I'm
Okay.
like, slow drip. So I think
No, it's okay.
the middle of February we're adding kind of a sleep guide, and then in March a download of applying. But one of my favorite tricks, it's really interesting. There's a whole branch of chiropractic called functional neurology
Mm.
that's really focused on kind of balancing regions of the brain. So if one hemisphere is overactive, they balance the other hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the easiest ways to do that is with oils, because you can either topically apply it, at certain points, like if you're using an oil for sleep, the point, not on the ear, but just feel above where the ear is. The skin right there is really thin. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good point. If you're using topical
For sleep.
melatonin,
Okay.
CBD oil, or essential oils, that's a great application point.
Mm-hmm.
The wrists have thinner skin. Certain places are better than others,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of kind of targeting different regions of the brain, our colleague Titus Chu talks about how when you're having an anxiety attack, that's your right frontal lobe that's kind of overactive.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to calm that is to balance the left frontal lobe. Then the two hemispheres are in balance. You're less
Mm-hmm.
anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Easiest way to do that is to smell something through your left nostril. And it can be any oil you have, anything that smells good to you.
Wow.
It goes directly up to the right forehead, kind of stimulates that area, balances the hemispheres. And, as somebody, I have, I think like everything else, you can train the muscle not to kind of respond the same way. I used to have panic attacks in supermarket lines. I'd get, to the line, the checkout line. It would be too long. I would start to feel really claustrophobic and I would abandon cart, which is very wasteful because it takes a long time to stock up and
Yeah.
probably horrible for the employees. I always felt horrible, but now I have my trusty oil. I smell like 3 to 5 times and I'm like, okay, I can make it through. I can pay and take this to my car.
I'm going to try that at the dentist next time.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I was saying, it's so funny. I joke that my mouth is a horror movie because I think chronic inflammation leads to like inflamed gums. So that's another thing I talk about, oil pulling. You can add, they say to use sesame oil, which tastes moderately gross. Coconut oil also gross. But if you add peppermint, it tastes better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more manageable. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Don't need to overshare.
No, I love this application ideas. Oh, so you're gonna add that even to this list of things? Oh my gosh, this is like too good.
Well, that's my. Remember, I like to research and write things. I'm like, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is interesting. My team's like, you have enough guides, no more. Like the shoe fetish, I have a let's research fetish.
Well, it's like almost your let's help people fetish. Like you're coming up with all these wonderful tools that people really need to know about. Really can only help people. So thank you I know writing a book is no picnic. It's a lot of work. So thank you for all the time you invested in that and putting together this beautiful actually resource for people. So
oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, it turned out I'm grateful. It's funny, we it was originally thought that we would make it a gift book, so it would be in like gift shops as well as bookstores. But with COVID, no one's actually going anywhere, so let's
just all order online.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's good COVID reading.
Yeah. Good time to play with your little cabinet at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming on, sharing everything. People are going to want to tell me the website one more time, but I keep messing up.
boostthebrainbook.com /gift.
I'll put it in the notes for sure. And then your oils, people can find at Vibrant Blue Oils.
Vibrant Blue Oils, yes. Thank you. And if they have any questions, info@vibrantblueoils.com. And I think I have a couple articles on like migraines and oils and the underlying issues. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody for watching. Have a good weekend. Bye.